Hey guys! So today we are going to be making some yummy autumn treats. Now I love pumpkin spice, so these two recipes are inspired by pumpkin spice, and you can make them both in the microwave. So the first thing you're going to need is some flaxseed, pumpkin puree, an egg, but if you'd like to make this recipe vegan friendly, you can leave that out, some maple syrup, almond milk, and I'm using unsweetened, but original will also work just as well. Almond flour, because I find that this is the best gluten-free flour option. And then some chocolate. So I have semi-sweet chocolate chips and a vegan alternative that is sweetened with stevia. You'll also need a banana, and the key here is to use a really ripe one for extra sweetness. And then we have some baking powder, vanilla, salt, pumpkin pie spice, and pecans. But you can also use walnuts for this, or you can leave the nuts out altogether. Alright, so let's jump into it. Fleur is going to be helping me, and we're starting off with half a tablespoon of flaxseed, and we're going to put that into our container along with a tablespoon of water and swirl it all together. Then comes the egg. You need the one egg, crack it in there, and then it's time for the pumpkin. So we're going to use 2 tablespoons of pumpkin puree. This adds a really nice flavor as well as additional moisture. Now it is Mr. Banana time, so we're just peeling him, and we're going to use about half in this, so just break off some chunks. You don't have to be exact with it or anything. And then maple syrup. So this is going to be our sweetener, and you want 2 tablespoons of this. So the banana and maple syrup make this nice and sweet. Then we're going to take a tablespoon of the almond milk and pour that in, as well as a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. Moving into the dry ingredients, I'm going to be taking a 1/4 cup of almond flour plus a little bit extra and adding that in, followed by a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. We're also going to be using about a 1/4 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. But if you're like me and Fleur, you can add in a little bit more because this stuff tastes real good. From here, you just need a pinch of salt, so not that much, just a little bit, and a ramekin or a microwave-safe mug. Now, I'm using butter to grease my ramekin, but you can also use oil for this as well. Now it's time to blend it all together, and I'm using my NutriBullet for this, but you can also do this by hand. Just be aware that the bananas may pose a problem for you when you try to break them down. So that's why I'd recommend blending it so you're left with a nice smooth batter. For the chocolate chips, you can either use the semi-sweet regular ones or the vegan option, and you're just going to take a small handful, dump those in, and feel free to add extra if you are a chocolate lover, and you just want to mix it all together so then you can pour it into your ramekin or mug. And last, you're just going to top it all off with some pecans, but if you don't want nuts, then you can totally skip this step. So now Fleur is just popping her little cake into the microwave, and you're going to want to put this in there for about 2.5 minutes, depending on your microwave temperature. You may need to add a little bit more, and if you do, go in 15-second intervals until your cake is nice and spongy. So as you can see, it starts to bubble up and get nice and yummy and delicious, and it smells so good. When you take it out, be careful because it will be very hot, and then just give it a little tap to make sure that the cake is spongy and springing back. Now it's time to wash it all down with a chai latte. So I'm starting off with some regular almond milk, pumpkin puree, pumpkin pie spice, some chai tea, and honey to sweeten it all up. We're also going to need some vanilla, but I forgot to put that in. Oops. So you just want to add the almond milk into your cup, and if you want a less rich version, you can go half water, half almond milk. And then it's time for pumpkin, which we discovered doesn't smell so good. So you're going to need 2 teaspoons of this, and then you're going to use about a 1/4 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. Then throw in a dash of vanilla and stir it all up. So we're going to put this in the microwave for just over 2 minutes, and again, depending on your microwave, you may need more or less time, but either way, you want to keep an eye on this because it can boil over and then milk gets everywhere and it's not fun. So just watch out for that. So then you want to take your tea out of the bag and let that steep for about 5 to 7 minutes. And And then the last thing we're gonna add in after taking out the tea bag is some honey. So this is gonna sweeten everything up. This is totally up to your sweetness preferences though. And then just mix it all together. And this is totally optional right here. I like putting it in my NutriBullet and blending it all together so it gets nice and frothy, just like if you were to go to a cafe and they were to make you a chai latte. So you can see that it gets nice and foamy, and it's just, it makes everything taste better in my opinion. And then on the top, I like to add a little bit more pumpkin pie spice. So that is pretty much it, and I hope you guys enjoyed these recipes. Be sure to tweet me a photo if you try any of them yourself, and a huge thank you to Fleur for helping me. She is the best, and yeah, I love you guys, and I'll see you later. Bye!